Hello, my name is Marcin, and today I'm gonna review the game from the 90th season, third round of the Group E, between the michalu, who played as black, and Muff0, who played as white. The game was extremely even. White has won only by 1.5 points, so it's particularly worth seeing how the game was progressing. Puseki was rather eventless. Both sides avoided bigger mistakes. As we see, Joseki is playing according to the common rule. Here, White can also consider an alternative approach, which gives slightly different results. The actual outcome is also fair for both sides, although I'm not exactly sure how Black is feeling himself about this shape, which might be a little bit over-concentrated, although it's rather solid, so I wouldn't say that this is any kind of mistake. So the game is still going on, and Black extends himself between his two groups. The AI suggests a move of such kind. Well, this is not a big difference. Perhaps this shape is a little bit stabler, as now White has some space to jump and to cause some trouble for the lower left group. But this is the perspective for the future, as now White prefers to develop himself in other side of the board. AI suggests such a move, and I would probably agree with such a suggestion, as now the potential zone of influence of Black looks really promising. With such a move, we are trying to keep the contact with our main group and to develop ourselves towards the territory. So we are gonna fulfill these two aims, these two goals simultaneously, although it looks like this move has some weaknesses. But it's not a major mistake. The problem might appear right now when Black perhaps plays a little bit too submissively. I mean, White is creating some wall, which in future might cut the main Black group from this lone stone, which will be forced to seek for an independent life. Right now it's not a big problem, as Black has quite a lot of space around himself, but one most obvious way of connecting himself has just been severed, and Black perhaps could already have jumped into the corner, as White doesn't really have any big center move in this zone. Like, this corner shape of Black is already too thin. There is no way for White to kill this group, or even to threaten with the kill. So even if White continues to play like that, not now, but even like this, Black is extremely happy about this, because his group is alive anyway, and White would gain only a minor territory, minor influence, while Black would gain a huge advantage over this side of the board. So it seems to me like this move was not necessary in this part of the game. And White uses this opportunity to extend himself from his pawn walkie and to force Black to jump towards the corner, although White is very happy about such an extension, so Black's stones turn out to be a little bit over-concentrated, because Black would probably prefer the M17 stone to stand a little bit more far from his two stones on P line. So his group is not as effective as it could have been if he had chosen another extension in the past. Right now, his potential is not fully used, and White plays Hammer, which gives him even more influence. There is some agi left here, but White keeps his group strong and uncuttable, and Black still has a weakened group which is not fully alive yet, which is not fully connected with his main group, and this bad potential might cause some bigger problems in the later part of the game. Black plays a move right now which looks like an early Yosem. AI suggests to save his group, to protect his weaknesses with a move like this, probably especially because there might be some bad agi for White right here. So the move on R11 is not bad as it stands, but perhaps there are some more urgent moves from the Black side. Again, this invasion looks a little bit too early from the White side, as White would probably prefer to exploit the weakness of this group right here, perhaps to play something like this, because right now Black would be forced to fly, and with such a supporting stone on O12, the invasion on R9 might have bring more success, more promising result for the White. Right now, Black keeps himself connected, and White eventually ends in Gote. So he has gained only a weak wall, which still has some weaknesses in Q10. So I wouldn't say that this is a beneficial exchange for the White, and Black is already alive in this part of the board. So White could have played this exchange in any single moment of the game. He could have played this way later than now, and he loses the center. So Black can actually play in any part of the board. He can start an aggressive invasion on the lower left part of the board, but for some reason he has chosen to play like this, and thus he allowed White to come back to the more pressing part of the board, because even if Black gets these two stones, this is only a minor loss for the Whites. This is like Black takes this, while White can, for example, take this, and we see that this gain is much smaller than this gain, which might become even bigger. Hmm. That's an interesting approach. I'm wondering if white has any other possibility to answer this move rather than a simple connection. Perhaps one could have started with something like this, although I'm not really convinced if white's result is far better than the actual outcome. Perhaps something like this, although white doesn't really want to be cut. There are also some pincers. But it looks like white cannot play like this. So perhaps there was no better option. Although white strives very strongly to left the black stones baseless. And his effort leads black to the creation of a nice influence zone towards the center, which is not which is not compensated from the white side with a territory gain, because white has encircled only some minor points which have been already in the white potential influence. This is like white has gained nothing, while black has gained quite a lot. He has created an interesting thickness which might be easily extended towards the center, especially if we remember about these stones. So if black was able to create some bigger influence over here, the result would be fantastic for him, and white needs to respond swiftly. So he has decided to cut immediately. Alright, now we are trying to create some kind of ladder breaker. Well, and it looks like this is the moment for white to start a ladder. Because even if black plays something like this, white can just play here. And after such an exchange, white can either play something like here, and while trying to use these stones as a strong agi, or if black decides to kill this group once and for all, white can either play a double Atari or play such a squeeze and deprive black of his influence. So it's really hard to predict how the later part of the game would look like and to estimate which result looks more beneficial for white, but one cannot forget about moves like this, because white can either cut black stones or connect himself with these two stones. So so that was probably the fatal mistake. Like white has forgot that this ladder breaker is still working, and moves like F10 are not changing the strategic situation on the board. Like This group is still rather weak, and it needs a lot of effort to either create a local life or to connect with some of the strong white groups, while black has an opportunity now to liquidate, to eliminate the ladder. So such a result looks rather painful for white, for he has gained nothing or very little, and he gives a huge ponuki for black, which is extremely important from the strategical point of view. This group obviously looks strong, but it looks like it doesn't really compensate the loss which white sacrificed here. For the already thick black's wall becomes even stronger. The question is, can black extend himself successfully towards the center? As for now, he reminds himself about the weak group on the upper part of the board. Here we are playing some kind of Yose. Perhaps white could have played something like this. Apparently he could not. So the question is, did we really need this exchange? For black has become even stronger here. And what about this? We can create either something like this, or we can even try to cut black stones. And black doesn't have a direct cut, or at least it looks like this, on white stones. So this move on J16 looks a little bit too submissive from my point of view. White should probably try to play something riskier and just expect the black's answer. As we see, black very strongly, very eagerly tries to expand himself to secure his weak group, and white, what does white want? That's the question. Well, if I have to be honest, I do not really understand this exchange, as black has played a very deep invasion, which obviously it's probably aimed both on this cut and this connection, but white plays the move which is similarly aimed at two connections, so it looks like both sides are exchanging the empty moves, which are creating a lot of danger, but they are not giving points, especially on black side, as black created a very heavy group which only destroys white's potential influence and gives 0 points to black. And black obviously connects himself, as white cannot connect all his stones, and black still needs to be afraid about his own upper group, while white eventually has created kinda nice influence over the central part of the board. Like, try to look at the at the beginning. Like, still black has a lot of space over the center, and if white tries to create any points here, black can easily destroy it. Black can just play like this, and after this black can play literally everywhere. Yeah, because if white pushes here, black will either connect with this group or this group. There is no danger as for me, and right now it appears that white has become much stronger here, although black has gained virtually nothing. Like gets the heavy stones, while white builds some points over here. It looks like we have entered the Yosa, which is being played slightly better for as for the white. I I think that white could have played something a little bit faster, perhaps something like this, because it looks bigger than this, because white can still play something like here. Okay, that was some fatal misread from the black side, as it's pretty obvious that black needs to connect himself here. Black probably was thinking about something like this, like he forces white to connect himself here, but he apparently forgot about his own Atari. So the result was really painful for him. White should have played probably like this. And black cannot connect himself because he loses everything. Now black secures his stones. But okay, the game is going on. White is probably already advantageous. And we are playing for the lesser and lesser points. Okay, that was another mistake from the black side, as black has played a move right now here, which is unnecessary. Instead, he should have started with this exchange already, even something like this, because even if white plays here, there is no danger from the black side. And now he made a fatal mistake, which leads him to the unnecessary loss of these stones, while he could have used him in a better way, as the call should have been continued in any way. I don't know, there is plenty of call threads, I believe, like here. White would probably respond here, and black can play further on. That was a rather significant loss of the points in Yose, which probably was one of the reasons why black eventually lost for these two little points. Okay, the game is finishing. Also, this is too early. Instead of this, we should have connect ourselves, like here. Even if white plays here, we kill the stones. And perhaps here, that was the last chance to get these two missing points for black. Instead, he wasted his move, while white keeps playing big Yose moves. Perhaps instead of this, he could have also connect himself here. This is also a big move, as we have seen. This is probably center. And now everything looks fine. And probably black may win this game right now. Okay, we are starting the call, which is unnecessary, as we already know. There are some call treats being played. But that was probably the last fatal mistake from the black side, as he has played this threat on k18. Instead, he should have played like this, because still this is a call threat, because if white plays here, black can play like this and kill this stone. Instead, he has given a point or even 2 points for nothing. Yeah? This result looks far better, incomparably better than this. So even if black eventually connected himself in T13 and he won this call, he has lost too much points. Oh, this also doesn't make sense. What's the reason of this move? I don't really understand, because black should have played here. White needs to connect himself, and there is no danger as for now. Black plays here, and it looks like black gets these 2 missing points. And right now, black wins for the half of the points. So probably black was playing in Byoyomi and he didn't have enough time to count the result properly. So he made this series of minor mistakes, which eventually led him to the defeat. If he just noticed this move, he could probably won this game. Although I understand that he was afraid about such a scenario, but still, this is 1 point more. It's always worth trying, isn't it? Eventually, the game has ended, and white has won with only 1.5 the points. So we see that both sides were playing very evenly, very strongly. Both sides were fighting for each and every point of the territory, and the result was decided only in the later Yose. Furthermore, both sides rather avoided bigger mistakes. There are no blunders, there are no bigger losses. There are only minor losses, which ultimately led to the defeat on only 2 points. So probably that was this deciding move, this match stone, which could have changed the eventual result. After this, black probably is winning, and he doesn't need to be afraid about the result. But nevertheless, Both sides were playing a really nice match. I congratulate both of them, and I wish them good luck in next matches. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to either comment the film or to ask me privately. Bye.